It is 11 p.m. Eastern Time on this July 26th, and this is a late edition of the 28storms.com and Hurricane Tracker app weather update for the Atlantic and Eastern Pacific. And as we begin our update with a look at the satellite, we see that things remain quiet across the West Atlantic, Caribbean, and Gulf, but we are still dealing with this tropical wave that exited Africa just a few short days ago. And this wave axis is lacking in convection, but you can see the very broad area of cyclonic spin associated with the area of low pressure on the visible and standard infrared, but we're still not expecting anything imminent from this wave axis as it is lacking convection, and you can see much of this wave axis is void of any shower and thunderstorm activity. Now it is a little bit more impressive than the one that's out ahead of it. As you can see, this one doesn't have any shower activity related to that wave axis, but the main culprit is the dry air and the Saharan air layer, and we are still expecting this to place a lid on any tropical prospects for the next several days. To the contrary though, despite the developing El Nino out across the equatorial Pacific, we are still not seeing much in the way of vertical wind shear, at least relatively speaking, for mid to late July, and you can see many areas have wind shear values below 15 to 20 knots, including the main development region between the coast of Africa and the Lesser Antilles, and this is something that the GFS model was accurate on about a week ago when it showed a favorable upper level ridge beginning to spread out of Africa and across the central Atlantic. So in terms of the wind shear, things are a go for development, but we are still awaiting another pulse from the Madden-Julian oscillation to spread into the basin and really begin to enhance convection once again. For now, the enhancing phase of the MJO is located across the western Pacific, where just a couple of days ago a typhoon struck China, and as of right now they are monitoring two separate tropical disturbances, and the activity in the West Pacific is likely to continue for at least another week to 10 days. So it's no wonder that the latest upward motion anomaly graphic from the Climate Prediction Center basically has a bullseye out across the Philippines, but all of this energy is going to slowly transition more toward the Western Hemisphere, and we already see some of it beginning to make its way into the Central Pacific. So over the next 1 to 2 weeks you can expect the monsoon trough to the south of Mexico to reignite once again. So we should be monitoring at least 1 or 2 tropical disturbances in the Eastern Pacific in the near future, and then eventually this is also going to spread into the Caribbean and Atlantic. It may be not in time for that tropical wave to take advantage of things, and I'm speaking of the one that is currently to the west of Africa, but as we go into early August, we do think that overall we will be dealing with more tropical threats moving closer to the Caribbean and United States. In the short term though, the latest run from the Canadian CMC model is not showing much in the way of landfall threats, but it is beginning to show more activity near the coast of Africa. The first tropical wave in question is expected to be near eastern Cuba in roughly 5 to 7 days, and at least based on this model you've got a potentially stronger one that just exited the coastline. Next up is the GFS model, and this is the first tropical wave that we are currently watching on satellite imagery. And you can see it passing through the Lesser Antilles in the medium range, but this is not going to be a problem for the islands. It may only help to enhance some shower activity for the course of a day or so, but that's about it. And much like the CMC, we see it somewhere out across the southern Bahamas or the Greater Antilles by day 7, with another tropical wave exiting near the Cape Verde Islands by around that same time. Interestingly, the latest run from the ECMWF model is also trending a bit more westerly with the track of the tropical wave. As you can see it here defined by a 1014 millibar area of low pressure, and as we go through the next few days you see that by day 4 or early Monday morning the axis is expected to be approaching the Leeward and Windward Islands, and by Tuesday morning the vorticity max is actually trying to perk up a little bit as it heads over towards San Juan, Puerto Rico. And as we advance into Thursday, it's obvious that it's situated over the southeast Bahamas. So the dry air is going to limit this thing from developing prior to reaching the Caribbean, but as it moves into the North Caribbean or Southwest Atlantic, we're going to have to reevaluate what the upper level wind shear conditions are like at that time. But for now it's a bit early to speculate. So bottom line is, even though we're not expecting anything in the short term, we will be watching the progress of this wave axis as it gets closer toward the southeast. So that's all for now, but you can go ahead and expect another video update to be posted by Friday afternoon.